Okay, on this video and podcast, and don't forget, if you're watching the video, I have a podcast by the same name. And if you're listening to the podcast, I have a video on YouTube with the same name. So there's that. So hit that subscribe button, okay? There's more to come. I'm going to keep going. One of my big main themes for creating this video and podcast is to also express and show what it's like to start your own company. And as you guys know, I'm sort of in the midst of doing that. And right now, I've been working on this company that brings AI to the forefront, possibly as a consultant. And I've been doing a really good job, actually, surprisingly, a good job of talking with people in the AI industry, similar positions, companies that use AI, companies that have AI products, all of those kinds of good things, and really met a wonderful amount of people doing this. If you haven't done that, just to talk to people in the industry that you're in, or that you want to get in, or that you want to grow in, what I find is most people are very, very, very helpful. Now, you're going to get people that don't respond. Who cares? Okay. They probably weren't worth talking to in the first place. But you're also going to get a lot of people who are really great. But make sure that if it's an informational interview, that you tell them, I want to just spend 15, 20 minutes with you. And if they get back to you and say, hey, I have a hard stop after 15 minutes, don't get upset. Okay. Know that they have a life, they have busy things as well. So I've been doing this, I've been working this way. Okay. And I send out LinkedIn messages, I send out emails to folks in the AI industry. I want to talk to them, try to be very nice, 15, 20 minutes. I tell them up front, I'm not going to sell them anything, not selling and giving them a pretty short window of time so that they know that you're not going to be there for 45 minutes. That's not to say that some of my calls weren't longer. If they had time, I would say, hey, do you have to go? And they'd say, oh, no, 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 I enjoy the call. So you have to be upfront about those things. And you have to also, like I said, let them know that you're not selling anything and that you really appreciate the time. And if there's ever anything you can do for them, kind of a reciprocal approach to it. All right. But let's get down to some nuts and bolts. And what I say are the three top, they might be the three first main things, although some of them you'll be dealing with throughout your entrepreneurship in general. But number one is finding the right product. And what I mean by that is, like this pen here, if you can see it, somebody came up with the pen, it solved the problem, boom. And now we have billions of different pens that you can probably buy on Amazon and Office Depot and everything else, Staples, whatever it might be. Okay. But oftentimes it's something that solves a problem. Now, just because it solves a problem, you have to make sure that you're making money with it. All right. I know that these are sort of easy to understand. And most of you are like, oh, this is really elementary. But you have to understand that finding a product that also you like and understand, that a year from now, when things aren't going well, or when you have to grind, and you're going to have to grind in every day that you're part of this. Okay. So you're going to be grinding the whole time, good and bad. You can't get too high, you can't get too low. You just have to keep grinding every day. So it's a product that you have to believe that you're going to be excited about 2 years from now. Okay. Or that might have a shelf life that long. I mean, some things, if you're selling something based on a trend, more than likely it's not going to last more than 6 months, a year, maybe 2 years max. If it's a decent trend, and has some legs and can stand for a while. But otherwise, if it's like a trend, if it's I don't know, some TikTok gummy candy or something like that that you want to start selling because kids are buying it, that just know that sometimes those things don't last. You have to find a product that you like, that you believe in, and that you feel's going to last a little bit. Now, some people might say, "Oh, you get in, get your money, get out." Okay, that's not the approach that I'm taking here. You can definitely do that. Okay. There's 1,000 ways to make money, millions of ways, obviously, to make money. I'm talking about a business that you want to build and creating that first product. And that product is something that you're looking at, that you're going to be selling for 20 years or longer, or until your company gets sold, or until God forbid something you don't like happens. So you have to like the product. That product has to make you money, and you have to understand how it makes you money. It's got to be, as they always say, scalable. Okay. When you're a consultant, it's really hard to make things scalable because the actual product is you. All right. Now, if you've watched me at all, you know that I've been in consulting at various times in my life for a long time. I've done it many years, well, probably 15 plus years. And so you become the product, you become the expert, you give the advice, you do all those things. Once you leave the room, the client, the customer may not see another expert in the room. Okay. And I'm not always saying that every room I'm in when I'm a consultant, I'm the top expert. I've been in rooms with my bosses. I've been in rooms that with people who are more famous in my line of work, or have the resume is filled up with Fortune 500 and 100 companies, and they've written a book or two or four, and so they become the experts. However, you're there to help them. Anyway, I don't want to get off on this tangent, but as a consultant, it's hard to scale that business because people are the business. Your time, your energy, getting back to them, meeting with them, all of those kinds of things. And that's hard to control. So if you want to get into consulting, I've been in consulting, you can get into consulting. It's awesome. All right. But it's a little bit different than what we're talking about. And I can talk about consulting if you let me know that you want me to talk more about consulting. But now we're talking about a product, okay? And in this case, I'm going to give my example of what I'm doing now. Now I am building an AI consulting business, but in the back of my head, okay, talking with some people and getting some expert opinions, it's evident that it would be great if I could build a digital product for small businesses to use for their AI needs. Okay. This is not something you put, a dollar in the machine and get something right out. No, this is going to take time. It's going to take programming. It's going to take a website that or a platform, however you want to look at it, that is able to do this for the small businesses I talk to. It's got to be something that's easily understood. It's got to be something that's easy to use. It's got to be something that won't break down that much. It's got to be something that's relatively streamlined, and I can either help troubleshoot whatever it might be from afar, from my remote office, which doesn't look like the thing behind me because that's a fake office, but something that I can help them with that won't take up much time, that won't break down too much. So, number one, it's finding that right product. All right. Do you like it? Do you not like it? Can you make money on it? Is there any scalability to it, or is it a consulting business? If it's a consulting business, you got to just go with the fact that it's a consulting business. Okay. And that some days you might make a lot of money per hour, and then other times it might take you twice as long, but you've only billed the client half as much. Okay. So there's those kinds of situations as well. Now, you also have to understand, and some of this is being in the industry, some of this is talking with companies in the industry. Is there a market for your product? Everyone says your product should solve a need. It should help somebody with a problem, a company with a problem. You think about most of the products we use. Computers are an easy one. It helps us with business. It helps us with creating things. It helps us with watching movies now. It helps us with, being on social media, smartphone, same kind of thing. A pen, like I talked about, help people learn to write and hold things and gather information and keep a record of the information. Okay, and so is there a market for it? And some of this you won't even know until you start getting into it, unless you know that industry really well. Now, some industries are self-explanatory. Like for instance, if you're going after restaurants, you kind of know what a restaurant's like. If you go and eat there, you know that they take your, depending upon if it's like counter service, or you go up to a counter and order it like a Jimmy John's, or is it a sit down service, whatever it might be. You know the basics of that if you're going into those, and you know that, like, going into a chain and getting your product in there might be a little more difficult than going to a mom and pop kind of family restaurant that might have one to like four locations or something like that. So it might be a little bit easier for you. But Again, let me just recap as I'm going through this. Number one, finding the right product. Do you like it? Is it scalable? Can you make money on it? Will you still be interested 10 years from now? Number two, is there a market for it? Does it solve a problem? Does it change anything about that industry? Does it make the business or the person more efficient, more effective, look better in some ways if it's fashion, jewelry, whatever it might be related? Those kinds of things. All right. And so just let me get off script just for a little bit here and tell you what I have found about the business I've been working on. Okay. So I was really thinking of creating this sole consultantship, I guess, consulting agency about AI, where I would go out, I would listen to a business, I would recommend products, I would help them get trained on those products, and then, I would help with any sort of follow up. And after talking with some people and figuring some things out, I did do one of those pivots, and I started thinking about what would it take to create a product, a platform that small businesses could go to use that's extraordinarily straightforward and that it's my platform. Therefore, I can easily train the people because I'm controlling whether or not something changes month to month, year to year. Like, if you're teaching ChatGPT or Gemini, Google Gemini, or if you're teaching uh, Grammarly, the layout's going to change one day. You're going to go on and the layout's going to change, or the way the prompts work, or the page itself's going to change. And a lot of times when you're dealing with small businesses, you're not dealing with tech savvy individuals. So keeping the user experience very similar day in and day out is going to be important, because let's face it, for the most part, people are very, maybe they don't hate, but they're very uncomfortable with change. So when you go to or when they would go to their computer and see a different screen or a different way of doing things, or the fact that this uh, subscription went up by $4 or $2 this month, whatever it might be, they want to get a heads up about it. They want to know about these things, and it's coming from a different party. So one of my pivots, I'm still holding on to the consulting aspect of it, because I think no matter what you're doing, if you're selling a widget, for instance, you're going to still have to consult. You're still going to have to say, okay, this works for you because of this, and this feature, or what this product does. Okay. Now, because it's my own product, the other nice thing about it is I can theoretically add on to it. I can subtract to it. I can improve it on my own from the feedback I get from my customers. That's what makes it more interesting, because I can actually help the market. If I'm hearing a year from now that, boy, it would be great if we could do this on your platform, or it would be great if we had this kind of service online, I can add that, or I can create a separate website that does that, you know. Now, finally, the last part of this, and again, it says three top. I'm thinking this might be even the three first, but this one here you're going to have throughout your business. What's the budget? What kind of money do I have to spend to create this product, to create all of these things? All right. So I've talked about the fact that I've pivoted. I've talked about finding what I believe is the right product because it's AI related. I'm in consulting, but then I talked about the pivot on number two with, is there a market for that? And now it's, what's the budget? Okay. And you can kind of pencil in underneath this, like if this is point three, you can make this like 3A and 3B kind of stuff, is who's going to do the work and how much is it going to cost to create that product. All right. The one thing that's going on with AI, all right, and I'm not going to go down in the weeds here, but AI is leveling the playing field. And what I mean by that is things that we weren't able to do, automations that were annoying or that weren't even a possibility yet, you know, we're able to do in seconds, in minutes, in hours, in a fraction of the time that it used to take us. Okay, people are able to make AI generated photos, AI generated videos, AI generated websites, all of these kinds of things, all right? And apps and all of this kind of stuff. And so what that does is, rather than spending oodles of dollars on a video, on a photo shoot, on a website, AI can help you build those things, create those things. And that's what's so important right now. Okay. You don't have to ask yourself about the budget. Now, I know that I'm cheering AI right now, but what I'm saying is, for your company, and let me get off the AI thing for a while, you have to know what is your budget and how long does that have to last you. You know, there was a pretzel company by my house, and they had uh, basically painted and had put in all of this furniture, all of this equipment, but they weren't open. And they had all of these things that they obviously spent money and time on to put into this pretzel shop or restaurant, whatever you want to call it. Okay. And you could tell that they had industrial or commercial grade ovens and all of these kinds of things that probably, if they were rented or bought or whatever it was, cost them a lot of money, upfront money. And when they finally went to open, they were only open for like less than a month, because they had gone almost a year paying rent, buying all these things, painting the place, making it look nice, blowing through that money. Now, I don't know that for a fact, but that's what I believe it to be. Okay? That happens a lot. It's easy to spend the money. It's much more difficult to get the money, or it's a little more stressful to get the money. So you have to know what your budget is. If you have a budget of $10,000, what does that get you? What do you need? What are the things that you need? You know, the top one or two or three things that you need. How much does it cost? What is vital? What will make your company work, and what you don't need? You know, do you need 5,000 business cards, or can you just spend, you know, pay a little bit more per card but get 100? Do you even need business cards anymore? Do you need a full-fledged website, or can you just build one with Wix, Squarespace? I use a lot of GoDaddy to build very simple websites. Okay, can you do something like that? Again, if you're selling websites, you don't want to make your website look simple. You want it to look very up to date and very awesome. Okay. But what is your budget? Don't buy t-shirts and hats and all of these things and blow through your money on stuff that you're going to give away and don't have almost no ROI. All right? T-shirts, hats, even billboards. Watch your spending. Watch your advertising spending. That is key. People like to say, "Oh, well, I'll just spend money in this advertising." Look, spend a little bit of money, see what the return is. Make some tweaks, spend a little bit more money, see if the return has grown. Don't spend oodles of money on advertising and then figure out 90 days, whatever, 120 days later, that it's not bringing you any customers. No one's calling you, no one's going to your website. It's not worth it. Okay. With this business, I'd been sending out emails to prospects and not getting a response. People were opening it at a clip of about 20-25%. All right. They're opening the emails, but they weren't responding to the emails. So I had to make a change. I had to figure out, okay, I'm going after this consulting part of the business specifically up front. That's what I'm talking about in the email. Okay. Now, after 2 weeks of nothing, no return, no response, rather, I'm saying I want to discuss this affordable product with you that's going to help your business be more efficient and hopefully save time and money, essentially. I mean, I know that's kind of similar to efficient, but it's a secondary, more specific points. That's what it is. Okay. That's what I'm trying to get at. You have to look at it from that vantage point. If something isn't working, don't put it on autopilot. check it out, look at it. Don't get overly excited if everybody's looking at your emails, but they're not responding. Who cares? Doesn't mean squat. They have to respond. And you might have 4 proposals out, but if no one signs any of them, they're just pieces of paper or digital PDFs that no one has yet signed. Okay? I'm not trying to be harsh. I'm just trying to give you the reality. You don't have stink if you don't have ink. That's what I used to say years ago at one of my jobs. So that's the way I look at it. You have to have the return. You have to have people contacting you or wanting to contact you or coming into your shop. You might have the most beautiful display at your retail location, but if no one's coming in the door, you're not going to sell anything. If you don't sell anything, you're not going to be in business long. How do you get those customers in the door? How do you get those customers to your website? How do you get those customers buying your products? Number 1, it's a cycle. Have you found the right product? Does it solve a need? Does it answer a question? Does it make someone feel better about themselves? Do they look better? Do they work more efficiently because of it? And is there a market for it? I was watching a video today of someone who had, one of those 6-foot plastic tables you buy at like Home Depot and you set up when you have Thanksgiving dinner. And I guess he worked a lot out of his garage. And he said, when I'm working on big projects, he was 6'3". I'm not 6'3", but he was 6'3". I like a higher table because when I'm working on that table, I'm always bending over and hurting my back. And so what he did is he got some PVC pipe. He got the kind that were big enough to put on the bottom of the table, and he raised it. I think it was 15 inches. So he had a higher level of a table to work from that didn't hurt his back, and that can be really annoying if you're working a long time. After a while, you don't want to bend down like that. So can you make it better? And and if other people can do it, if it's an easy solution, are you going to go out and produce 15-inch PVC pipes? No, that's probably not a business idea. He was doing it as, hey, DIYers, here's something you can do to save your back and to kind of help your projects so things are closer to you as well. But he's not making a business out of it. Now, his YouTube channel is probably his business, but he's not making a business out of 15-inch PVC pipes. Pick the right product. Is there a market for it? And what's your budget? Look, those PVC pipes, I know the price of things have gone up a lot. They don't cost a lot of money. You can get 60 inches of PVC pipe, cut that into 4, and you're done. I don't know, what is that, $10, $15, maybe $20, and you've now raised your table to a level that's not gonna hurt your back? Anyway, that is the video and podcast. I'll be doing more about this, talking about the real struggles and what to expect. My next episode, I'll be talking specifically about those struggles, the really, really tough ones. Let me know your thoughts. Thanks for watching. Take care.